Hello and welcome to another video. Today we're in Warsaw, Poland, and we are going on a metro mission from north to south on line M1, the blue line of the Warsaw Metro. Starting here in Młociny, which is a transport hub. You can see the bus station behind, and we're going to have a little look around here and then head through the stations, into some of them, out of some of them, to see what we can see and to see what we can find. So let's roll.
And as you can hear, more than a little bit blustery at the first station.
So while we're here, let's go and take a quick look at the mall that's next to the transport centre. People in other videos, particularly in the Prague videos, said you missed the mall, you missed the mall. So we're going to have a quick look around. I think the interesting thing for me really is the end station difference. Some of them are like business parks, some of them have got massive shopping centres, transport hubs, and others are just kind of in the middle of a field. Here, this seems like there's a lot going on, so let's take a quick look.
As malls go, this was a pretty good one, a little sporty games area outside, as well as a couple of stands selling snacks and coffee. Inside, some giant floor chests, and actually a really good range of shops. But as is often the case on these Metro line adventures, we gotta get going, there's plenty of ground to cover.
So this does seem like a good option for transport, particularly if you're coming into the city from probably the north of Poland or maybe elsewhere, the Baltics potentially, because you've got all of the trams here, then you've got the metro there, and then you've got the bus here, all right in a row next to each other. So very, very easy. And if you're taking Flixbus, I'm pretty sure the stand for it will be in here somewhere. Quite a nice station.
I did check for it, and yes, it is there, so if you're taking the Flixbus from here, likely going north, it's a well-equipped little area. Now to head into the metro and grab a ticket. As with most of the European metro systems we've encountered so far on the channel, fairly straightforward machines, multiple languages and ticket options. Here we're using the day ticket, which costs 15 zloty at the time of filming. This will allow us to get on and off the metro as many times as we like throughout the day. We're now heading down to the tracks and taking a nice modern train to the second station, which I believe should be pronounced something along the lines of Wawrzyszew. Here's a closer look at the map from the intro. You can see we're starting in the northern suburbs, heading more central before taking a detour through Warsaw's beautiful Old Town and finally finishing up in the southern suburbs, a total journey of about 21 kilometres. This is just outside the second station Wawrzyszew, which is down the street from the first station, so it's a pretty similar vibe overall.
So I've got off at the second station, which I'm not even going to attempt to say because some of these Polish names of the stations are just almost impossible. If you've ever watched the videos before, you'll know that normally I try and copy the metro announcements if it's something difficult. Almost all of these are difficult, or even if they look easy, the sound is probably not how I think it is. That one just sounded like wash, wish, 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 wish. So I have no idea what the ending of that is meant to be, and I assume that this would pick up some Polish viewers because the thing that I can gauge so far from the YouTube studio, which is where you see all the statistics, is that people tend to watch videos from their own country, which kind of surprised me, but anyway. And at the time of filming this, it's not long since the Prague videos went up, so there's a lot of Czech audience for that. Thank you very much for your interaction on those, because that was really great.
What's going to help a lot in this adventure is the signposted directions and distances to nearby metro stations. Love that.
So yeah, thanks for the interaction on those videos, because it really helps the channel, even if some of them are just like, why have you missed this? Why have you not done this? You got this wrong. A lot of it is not massively researched in advance, little bits, yes, but I do prefer just to find things too, because otherwise it's just kind of like a guided tour of me already knowing everything. So that's kind of pointless. There's only about 720 metres between the two stations, second and third on the line. So that's actually not too bad. One of the things that I found in Warsaw so far is it's huge. And also the distances between things often are longer than they look on a map, because a lot of the streets or boulevards are huge. So you look on a comparison and you think, oh, it's just 3 streets away, but the 3 streets are all massive.
Anyway, this particular boulevard, or big old street, was serving up some cute colourful houses with balconies. How lovely.
Also, as shopping centres go, that one at Młociny at the start actually had quite a good mixture of things, sort of higher end shops, but also cheaper H&M, Primark, things like that. A good range of coffee shops, Flying Tiger, the little, what would you even call that, like miscellaneous things shop.
Here we are reaching the third station on the line, Stare Bielany, where we'll head back down to the underground for another ride on the train.
But yeah, you can probably tell that I'm freshly caffeinated with a bit of English breakfast tea because, well, there's not even that much caffeine in tea. Someone's going to say, there's no caffeine. Yeah, you can tell because I'm in a more sprightly mood.
Big old direction signs for the end station, making it pretty difficult to head the wrong way. Nice, clear signage and a few funky panels on the wall, but so far fairly standard stations compared to some of the quirky ones that we'll come across elsewhere on Warsaw's metro system. The fourth station, Słodowiec, serving a bit of black and white tile action. It's giving Cruella de Vil's bathroom.
So we're off at the next station, Słodowiec, just to have a quick look at it. The good thing about the Warsaw Metro is it seems the trains are really frequent. You can see one in at the other side, and it is, though they come every few minutes, I'm not sure exactly what the schedule is, but it must be every 4 minutes maybe, even less. They're coming through all the time. So yeah, I'm not sure how loud it is down here when the trains are passing all the time. It is quite frequent. I think on the sign it's saying every 4 minutes, which is really good and good for getting on and off at more stations so that I don't get rinsed in the comments for skipping stations. Some of them have to be skipped for the timing, but yeah, here comes another train.
Back on one of the ultra-modern trains with a plethora of digital screens showing the full line and station details, you can see we're headed towards the next station, Marymont. Serving us a central platform, plenty of bench seating, and some glamorous blue supporting beams. I like when station colours match the colour of the line, it just all makes sense.
So we're getting off here at Marymont. It's the first station with a middle platform. I like that the stations on the line are quite different so far. And again, you can see another train coming in behind me, really high frequency of trains.
Outside, we're greeted by a few stores, a main road, and the continuing grey weather. But the underpass sends us through to Park Kaskada, which sounds pretty funky. Here's a map of the park entrance, plenty of trams circling too. Let's go and have a wander around.
Okay, we're off at the next station, Marymont, and we are having a look around Park Kaskada. All that's going around in my head is the song by Kaskada, Evacuate the Dance Floor. I don't think I can play it because it's probably copyrighted on YouTube, but the one that goes, oh, oh, evacuate the dance floor. And I'm sure the person on the bike really enjoyed that. So let's see what's in here. On another note, I feel like Kaskada did Eurovision at some point, maybe for Germany? Could be wrong, but I have a feeling they did Eurovision. I don't know why. Anyway, I can see something cascading.
In hindsight, I was probably lucky that Warsaw isn't as ghetto as some cities. Probably would have had my phone swiped by a cyclist in London.
It's a very pretty little park. Whenever I say something is like cute and quiet but close to the city, then there'll be sirens or something in the background, which I think I did just hear further away. But yeah, this would have been amazing yesterday actually. I arrived from Wrocław yesterday and it was heat wave, 28 degrees I think while I was on the bus, whereas today it's more like 18 or 19 degrees Celsius, so the temperature has dropped a lot. It is October at the time of filming, so there's not much, you can't really expect much more. I thought it would be more like this when I came, so yeah, if I could have swapped the days I would have rather probably been on the bus in this weather and filming where everything looks nice and sunny, but yeah, that's what we get in October.
Well hey, some street graffiti, always love to see some of that. Now back into the metro where we're heading to a station with a very glamorous ceiling. Plac Wilsona metro station was designed by Polish architect Andrzej Holzinski and opened in the early 2000s as part of an extension to the line. It's also won a number of awards for its design and construction. The use of shape and light on and around the ceiling is extremely cool, and presumably these can change colour in order to alter the whole mood of the station. On ground level you can see we're moving towards the more central areas, greater number of people milling about, definitely a bit busier. Across the street, let's head into Park Stefana Żeromskiego.
So we're going to try and walk through a couple of parks from that station that we just went past. I feel like it said Plac Wilsona, but it has an A on the end, so is it Wilsona? Is it Wilson? Who knows? I'm sure somebody will enjoy telling me in the comments. So we're going to try and move between that one and the next station through a couple of parks. I'm not sure how close together these are. As I said before, everything in Warsaw, it looks kind of close on the maps, but then you realise it's a huge boulevard. So let's try and get through here to the next station.
Probably the most interesting find around here is Sokolniki Fort. This fort was built between 1849 and 1851 and formed part of the Warsaw Fortress, which comprised a whole ringed network of fortifications surrounding Warsaw. Today the fort has become a cultural venue hosting various events, and it even has a cafe. Take that, Starbucks.
It's quite an interesting area because it's giving leafy suburbs type vibes, but it's literally only a couple of hundred meters from that main road area where the last metro station was. So it's really interesting. A lot of nice houses around here as well. When I'm doing these videos, I'm always thinking about which area would I live in if I had unlimited funds and could just choose to buy an apartment or a house somewhere. So far I'm going to go with this area because it's so close to all the transport connections, but it just feels like the suburbs, so it's got a really good balance.
A quick look at this war memorial, and it's back on the hunt for the next metro station.
If you search online about whether Warsaw is a walkable city or not, most of the material will say that it's not, because it's quite a big city in terms of distances between places. And that is true. Like, you can be walking what you think is not a very long distance and it's actually really long. But what I would say is Warsaw's really good for having a lot of footpaths everywhere. We're on one here by the side of a main road, but there's also a footpath up there right next to where the cars are, and good connections here. Don't know how well you can see that, but there's a stairway connecting the two. In a lot of cities, they're really bad for having footpaths by the side of major roads, or it's hard, like once you go the wrong way, it's hard to correct yourself. So far it is pretty good for that. Even when I was walking from the bus station into the centre yesterday, it was a couple of kilometres, and I could have used public transport, but there was so many people walking up and down, cycling up and down. So it does seem like a walkable city in that sense, but obviously be prepared for the distances between the places.
Next we're passing through, or at least under, one of Warsaw's main train stations, Warszawa Gdańska. Heading down through the crowds gets us to the next metro station, Dworzec Gdański, where the train is immediately arriving to whiz us further into the city. Here we are arriving at the next station, Ratusz Arsenał. Let's head back up to ground level and see what we can find.
We're now off at the next station, Ratusz Arsenał. Sorry if you're a Tottenham fan. We're going to go a block back from here because there's apparently a park with some nice monuments, and then also into the Old Town. I think as far as I'm aware, this is the closest station to the Old Town, so let's go check that out.
So this is a fair detour away from the metro line, but it's definitely going to be worth it. Here we're at Ogród Krasinski. As you can see from the map, plenty to see and do here.
Okay, I assume this is for kids, but a little roundabout that's just spinning by itself. It's kind of cool. I actually hate things that spin, but I really want to go on it just because it's sitting there spinning by itself and there's nobody on it. Well, this is quite random, but kind of cool at the same time. I don't even know how or why this is spinning constantly, but it is. Yeah, generally I would avoid anything like this, even teacups, anything that spins, waltzes or whatever. I'll go on the roller coasters at an amusement park, but anything that spins is just a big no-no. Anyway, it looks like some kids are coming into the park, so I should probably vacate what should be a kids ride and head this way towards the Old Town.
Just before we quick march into the Old Town, we get the pleasure of checking out this beautiful palace. Krasinski Palace, also known as the Palace of the Commonwealth, is a reconstructed Baroque palace initially erected between 1677 and 1683, but rebuilt in the mid-20th century after it was heavily damaged during World War II. It is also surrounded by stunning gardens that lead us further towards the Old Town.
So there's quite a mix of things in this area. We've got palaces, we've got some flying horse type modern art creation. If anybody knows more about that, let us know in the comments. The Supreme Court behind me, I think there's also one of the main central banks, and over here the Uprising Monument. So quite a mixture of different things here.
Let's take a wander around these, avoiding the sightseeing tours and hop-on hop-off buses. Through a couple more extremely cute little streets and a quick peek into a church, it'd be rude not to, and we've pretty much made it into Warsaw Old Town.
So we're heading for a look around the Old Town, and the sun has actually decided to come out a little bit behind me, which should be a lot better for the videography of it all. Woo!
Heading through the striking red brick Barbican, we reach the northern end of the Old Town. There are also plenty of walkways and staircases for those who want to explore this particular area further. Warsaw's Old Town is particularly interesting due to the fact that more than 85% of it was destroyed by Nazi troops during the Warsaw Uprising of 1944. After the war was over, Warsaw's citizens began a meticulous reconstruction and restoration campaign to return the buildings to their former glory. The near-total reconstruction covers a span of history from the 13th right up to the 20th century. And what a beautiful job they did, a stunning place to walk around in the late afternoon sunlight. I have to say the Old Town area does almost feel like being transported suddenly to a completely different city. It's just a totally different feel here.
It's so quiet around here. I expected it to be full of tourists, but I guess some of the parts are slightly further away, and also the time of year might not be so busy. And also it's an interesting contrast between where we just came from, the last metro station, or the one before, where it was also a main train station, tons of people there. So this is really nice.
Anyway, it's time we headed back to the metro to continue the journey south. Whether I chose the best way back or not, I'm not sure. It was quite long.
So we've gone around in some kind of funky old town loop from Ratusz Arsenał, and we're going to go back to the same metro station and then head onwards towards the centre and through to the southern part of Warsaw.
And so it's back into the metro, where we're greeted by an older train, love the shape and design of these, to take us to our next port of call. Rising up out of the very green Świętokrzyska station, we're greeted by one of Warsaw's most recognisable landmarks.
So we're slap bang in the centre now. You can see the National Palace of Science and Culture in the previous shots. We've also got the main shopping street over there and a man taking a pee on the street in the background. Didn't choose the most discreet place to do it. Anyway, just a few hundred metres down from here is the next station on the line, Centrum. If you're a fan of old buses, how cool is this? And speaking of buses, this actually used to be where you pick up the airport bus for Modlin Airport. Maybe it still is, but the last time I was here was about 9 years ago now, so I'm not sure if that's changed or not. Anyway, now we need to head into the next station, Centrum, which I assume that's what it's called. Sometimes it's the stations with the easier names, or that I think are easier, that actually it's like Centrum or something like that. And someone will tell me in the comments, but there we go, it's all good for the algorithm.
Anyways, down we go into Centrum Station, which is giving some kind of primary colour Superman vibe. Love this viewing platform just above the tracks, excellent for watching people moving and a city in motion. And just like that, we're through to Pole Mokotowskie, which is serving clean and clinical. It's kind of a basic design. I do really like the lights hung in square formations though, that's pretty cool. Out at ground level, it looks as though the light is fading fast, so it's time to see if we can find anything interesting around here.
So we're full on in the middle of rush hour now, as you can see by the looks of the streets and the metro. It's about 5:30. So somebody, i.e. me, needs to get a move on because we're running out of light. Currently it's getting dark at about 6:30, just after 6:30-ish. So we have about 1 hour of light left.
Now this is a pretty cool find, even just from what we can see from the outside, just a street or two away from the metro station. This is the Museum of the Cursed Soldiers and Political Prisoners of the Polish People's Republic. If you're a bit of a history buff, like old prisons and retro vehicles, this is open from 10 till 6 for tours of the inside. We're now back on the train and heading through the southern stations and suburbs.
So while we've still got a bit of light left, I've made the potentially chaotic decision to try and walk to the next metro station, which I believe is called Wilanowska, but who knows, because I haven't heard the announcement of that before, so I'm guessing it's a V sound. Also on my map it says there's a Starbucks there, so I think it is time for a shot of caffeine and sugar to continue this walking spree going up and down stairs. This is my exercise for the day.
The walk between stations served up some funky architecture, some basketball courts, and plenty of rush hour traffic.
Okay, we're at the next station, Wilanowska. So the walk between those two wasn't actually that bad. I'm even gonna forego the Starbucks for now and try and get this done while it's still light. Might need some luck with that.
Back onto one of the ultra-modern metro trains to skippity-skip further down the line. Here's a quick look at Imielin station, followed by Natolin station. Both have a fairly similar structure and interior, with the former going for more green wall panels and the latter whipping out more blue.
And as the daylight fades, we're going to try and walk between the second last station, Natolin, to Kabaty, the end station. Let's see if there's anything worth seeing between these two.
Actually, more than you might expect on a fairly short walk down the street between the final two stations. A little Galeria shopping centre, a floodlit skate park, and a rather nice church. And with that, we've made it all the way to the final station, Kabaty. Probably rude not to go down and take a look at it and get some eerie empty train feels.
So here we are at the final station. What a journey that was through Warsaw. Absolutely huge city. If you enjoyed it, remember to like, subscribe, leave comments. It's all good for the algorithm. And I can see that the regular viewers are about treble the actual subscribers. So if you do subscribe, it helps a lot. Here's yet another train coming in because they are so frequent here. See you in the next one.